सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवनं भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Hare Krishna. We'll continue matter of instruction from the place where we left last week. I'll read the translation and purport. अत्याहार प्रयासस्य प्रजल्पो नियमाग्रह जनसंगश्च लौल्यं च षड्भिर्भक्तिर्विनश्यति. Translation. One's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities: eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required, over endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. 4. Practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement, or rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically. 5th, associating with worldly minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. And 6th, being greedy for mundane achievements. Hare Krishna. We'll continue the purport. We'll read from page 30. In Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.9, Sri Suta Goswami describes the proper human dharma in this way. Dharmasya hi apivargasya narto pakalpate nartasya dharme kantasya kamalabhaya hi smitaha. Translation of this sloka. All occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. I'll read this again. All occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. The first step in human civilization consists of occupational engagements performed according to the scriptural injunctions. The higher intelligence of a human being should be trained to understand basic dharma. In human society, there are various religious conceptions characterized as Hindu, Christian, Hebrew, Mohammedan, Buddhist, and so on. For without religion, human society is no better than animal society. As stated above, dharmasya apivargasya artoya pakalpate. Religion is meant for attaining emancipation, not for getting bread. Sometimes human society manufactures a system of so-called religion aimed at material advancement, but that is far from the purpose of true dharma. Religion entails understanding the laws of God because proper execution of these laws ultimately leads out of material entanglement. That is the true purpose of religion. Prabhupada is explaining about the importance of religion and the definition of a religion, what one should do, what one should not do, what is real religion, all those details are explained here. Unfortunately, people accept religion for material prosperity because of atyahara, or an excessive desire for such prosperity. True religion, however, instructs people to be satisfied with the bare necessities of life while cultivating Krishna consciousness. Even though we require economic development, true religion allows it only for supplying the bare necessities of material existence. Jivasya tattva jignasa. The real purpose of life is to inquire about the absolute truth. Even though we require economic development, true religion allows it only for supplying the bare necessities of material existence. Jivasya tattva jignasa. The real purpose of life is to inquire about the absolute truth. If our endeavor, prayasa, is not to inquire about the absolute truth, we will simply increase our endeavor to satisfy our artificial needs. Hare Krishna. A spiritual aspirant should avoid mundane endeavor. Another impediment is prajalpa. Until now, we were discussing on atyahara. Prabhupada is mentioning about atyahara through dharma. Now we are heading into prajalpa. Another impediment is prajalpa, unnecessary talking. When we mix with few friends, we immediately begin unnecessary talking, sounding just like croaking thoughts. If we must talk, we should talk about Krishna consciousness movement. Those outside of Krishna consciousness movement are interested in reading heaps of newspapers, magazines, and novels, solving crossword puzzles, and doing many other nonsensical things. In this fashion, people simply waste their valuable time and energy. In the Western countries, old men retired from active life play cards, fish, watch television, and debate about useless socio-political schemes. All these and other frivolous activities are included in the Prajalpa category. Intelligent persons interested in Krishna consciousness should never take part in such activities. Janasangha refers to associating with persons not interested in Krishna consciousness. One should strictly avoid such association. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has therefore advised us to live only in the association of Krishna conscious devotees, Bhakte Sanivas, Janasangha. One should always engage in the service of the Lord, in the association of Lord's devotees. Association with those engaged in a similar line of business is very conducive to advancement in that business. Consequently, materialistic persons form various associations and clubs to enhance their endeavors. For example, in the business world, we find such institutions as the Stock Exchange and Chamber of Commerce. Similarly, we have established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness to give people an opportunity to associate with those who have not forgotten Krishna. This spiritual association offered by our ISKCON movement is increasing day by day. Many people from different parts of the world are joining the society to awaken their dormant Krishna consciousness. We will discuss about until this point. We'll go from there. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Dhyananjana Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Mena Bhutane Swayam Rupa Kadhamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhabhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Mukam Karoti Vachalam, Vangam Langayate Girim, Yatkripa Tamaham Vande, Shri Gurun Dina Tarinam. Hare Krishna. This is a very important aspect Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here. There is clearly giving the importance of how religion is a vital factor in one's life. Prabhupada is explaining about different situations and circumstances where People do take religion through their own way. Everyone is trying to perceive the things to what they feel that is comfortable. Just like recently, there was a huge disturbance in India. A lot of people were killed. The people who were killing, the full understanding that what they are doing is right. That is also part of the religion. So they are trained in such a way that if you do this, you'll go to heavenly planets. So you have to do this. So since their childhood, they are trained in that way. So obviously, whatever they are trained, they feel that that is good. Homicide is good. Why? Because that is their process. That is their way of seeing the truth. Now a question will naturally come. So if everyone is seeing the truth in their own way, then what is the real truth? Prabhupada is mentioning here. That's why Shastra is so important. Dharmasya apivargasya narto artoya pakalpate. Dharmasya apivargasya. What is a real religion? Real religion is that occupational engagement should be transferred, should be converted to an occupational service. Occupational engagement everyone is doing. Even killing other people, that's also their occupational engagement. And that is also their religion. But that occupational engagement is not transformed into occupational service. But from their perspective, that is also operational service. That is also occupational service. That is their religion. But here Srila Prabhupada is telling anything which is done on a mental plane or for one's own sense gratification or for one's own upliftment, that is not true religion. Jivasya tattva jignasa. What is the real occupation? To understand the absolute truth. Is to inquire about the absolute truth. So if any inquire which is not in pertaining to that absolute truth, then what happens? That is prayasa. Very simple. If any endeavor which is not pertaining towards absolute truth. That's why our acharyas are so wonderful. They give the clarity of how things are happening in this world and how we should how we should live in this world, how we should act in this world. What we should think, what we should feel, what we should will. These are all very, very important aspects. See, money or anything in this world, if those things, because what is occupation? Occupational duty is what? Occupational duty is engaging oneself in the service of the Lord. When one engages his occupation in the service of the Lord, then what happens? That is a real religion actually. Jivasya tattva jignasa, understanding the absolute truth. That I am not this body, I am a powerful spirit soul, part and parcel of the Lord. I have an eternal relationship with Him. That is a real understanding. But here in this world, the so-called religion is what? One person tells homicide is good. One person tells animal killing is good. One person tells karmakanda is good. That means you go to the Lord. You put whatever desires you want in front of the Lord. He's an order supplier. You put, he gives. Karmakanda. One say homicide. one say animal killing, one say karmakandic activities, one say jnana, one say karma, one say dhyana. So everyone, through their own perceptions, through the association of that school, they take that association. But if you actually see in all of these things, the essence to please the Lord is missing. Missing in the sense, they are thinking that if I do this, Lord will be happy. They are thinking that if I kill, my Almighty will be happy. But they are not seeing or feeling or trying to understand whether is this pleasing my Almighty or not. See, from our perception, from the perception of the person who is practicing religious principles, from his side, he's thinking that this is correct, but he is not seeing what my master or Krishna or God, if he is happy from my side or not. That is also Krishna is giving in. That is also Krishna is telling in Gita. Or our acharyas are reiterating. Prabhupada is explaining here. Jivasya tattva jignasa. The most profound thing in one's life is what? To cultivate this. That is the most profound thing. Cultivate the real essence of one's life. But anything which is away from that is causing us disturbance or deviations. That means the heart will not be satisfied. Now, who is there to check whether heart is satisfied or not? Very few. Whoever really wants to take the truth, then he will check whether my heart is satisfying or not. Otherwise, all this process will lead to where? Will lead to either jnana or karma or dhyana. It will stop there. It will not come to bhakti. Very important. Because jivasya tattva jignasa, if that is not established in one's heart, then he is always looking for so many other things in this world. Continuously, sadhaka should always aspire for that consciousness. What is that consciousness? My dear Lord, I really want to please you. I really want to do this. That is real religion actually. Not the so-called religion which is giving us happiness. What is happening in Karma Kanda? What is happening in Karma Kanda? In Karma Kandic activities, what they do generally, I'm praying for you because I'm expecting something from you. People would go to Devi Devatas or even Krishna, and then they pray for something and they expect something. The moment an expectation is there, then we should understand that is not yet on the platform of pure devotion. Expecting what? Expecting something out of it. So many people might come to the process of religiosity expecting what? They will be free from anxiety, they'll be free from depression, they'll be free from this, free from that, free from all material problems, free from all financial problems, free from all health problems. If one problem is not there, other problem will come. People are not understanding that this entire life should not be used just for that. Who doesn't have problems? Everyone has problems. Some has family problems, some have wife problems, some have wife problems, some has husband problem, some have community problem, some have health problems, financial problems, so many problems. Prabhupada says, real religiosity, we understand that these problems will be there. Even after coming to Krishna consciousness, this problem will be there. We shouldn't have this blanket that if I come to Krishna consciousness, all this problem will be gone. The problems might not be gone, but one thing you'll get, to combat that problems, that strength we will get to fight for those problems. Even though the problems are there, still the heart is hankering for the service of the Lord. Because it is through that problems or difficulties, one will get realizations and reflections. A sadhaka who is going through difficulties in his life, he will progress more compared to others. Because a sadhaka who is having difficulty, what is he doing? He is depending. He has no other motive in his life. What is he doing? He is simply depending, dear devotees. Very, very important. What is it? Depending is the essence of everything. But if you actually see, it's only in pure devotion service we will see this. None of the other things we will not see this dependency. Either people who do homicide, people who kill animals, people who do karmakandic activities, people who do dhyana. There's no there's no dependency because there's no reciprocation, because there's no relationship. It is only through that pure devotion. It is only through that consciousness which Srila Prabhupada wanted to give us here. He is clearly telling from the Bhagavatam, Dharmasya Apivargasya. Very beautiful. The occupational duties through the process of real religion has to be transformed into occupational service. Because service is what? Service is done to a person whom we love or aspire. This person is telling you be non-envious towards others. Forget about killing others. Even at the heart level also, we should be non-envious towards the other person. That is what Krishna is expecting from us. Will Krishna ever be happy if a person is killing the other person? Will Krishna be ever happy if a person is killing animals? Will Krishna be ever happy if a person comes to him and then asking some cheap things of this world? Will he ever be happy with that state of consciousness? Or if a person is coming just to understand something, that is what also Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in the translation, right? What is that? Practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement. This is jnana. That means I just follow, but I'm not there to please the Lord. Because how spiritual advancement comes? Spiritual advancement comes when a sadhaka is aspiring to please the acharyas, please Krishna. Because if you actually see, Krishna is such kind of a person where we cannot separate him from his devotees. Never. Krishna can never be separated from his devotees. That great personality he is. Just imagine that Krishna, who can never be separated from his devotees, that means what kind of a person he is? That means he loves his devotees so much. So much, dear devotees. Lord loves his devotees so much. He is never away with him. Even though Lord is alone, he is there with his flute. Hare Krishna. That is also a devotee. Sometimes he's there with his mother, sometimes he's there with his father, sometimes he's there with his gopavalas, sometimes he's there with elderly gopis, sometimes he's there with young gopis, sometimes he's there with Srimati Radharani. It's different. And that's all manifested when Lord shown himself to all of us when he is lifting Govardhan Hill. Same Supreme Lord. Now in this instance, just see one side Indra is trying to pull, is trying to destroy Vrindavan because they're not giving him the sacrifices. They're not trying to please him. He's thinking that he is the supreme. He's thinking that they should please me. Because the moment that consciousness came, what happened? He wanted to devour because they're not following me, they're not hearing from me. It's interesting. It's interesting. Prabhupada, 40, 50 years, he preached the science of Krishna consciousness. But nobody was taking. No one. He was trying to distribute back to Godhead magazines. No one was. If people would have been taking it properly, he would have established a couple of organizations before. He would have established a couple of centers before going to America. Nobody was hearing. But just imagine through that 40, 50 years, oh, these people are not listening to me. Prabhupada was never envious towards them. Rather Prabhupada was compassionate towards them. They're missing this science. They're missing the essence of Krishna consciousness. What money, this thing, that thing will give. This is the greatest thing. Jivosya tattva jignasa. Jivasya tattva jignasa. This is the real essence of the life. Aspire for that. They're just losing this. Srila Prabhupada was worried for that, but Srila Prabhupada was never envious. That is the greatness of the Acharyas. Just imagine 40, 50 years repeating the same thing. Remember how difficult it is. That means he was not doing it for himself, dear devotees. Even if one devotee is there, Prabhupada is to give. Prabhupada is to discuss with him. That is a magnanimity. That's why he's telling here, practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following. Prabhupada never did that. We should all aspire for that, dear devotees. We should all practice. We should all hear. We should all do our chanting diligently every day. No matter what happens, even if you're diseased, we should strive to do that. Why? Because we want to please them. It is our motive. Because one day, if that time is missed, then that means that day will not come again in our life. So if the scriptural rules and regulations are done for them to please Krishna, I will hear to please Krishna. I will hear to please Srila Prabhupada. This is what this will do is, this is not for the sake of spiritual advancement. This is for the sake of spiritual advancement. I'm sorry. So the rules and regulations should not be followed just for doing that, but it should be followed for spiritual advancement. Or we cannot reject these rules and regulations and work whimsically. That is also another problem. We cannot reject these rules and regulations. Why Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, exalted personalities, they took so much struggle. Why Srila Prabhupada, he took so much struggle to give us this essence, give us this nectar. Because he really wanted to teach what real religion is. What is real religion? Dharmasya yapivargasya. To please the Lord. So many people are doing so many things. But all of those things, all the materialistic gains are used for sense gratification. The reward is actually, it is only through the mercy of the Lord we get everything in our life. Good family, good wife, good children. It is not through our thing. It is being given to us as a mercy. Some people don't get that. That is also mercy. Srila Prabhupada was been asked, my dear father, I have some problem with family. What to do? My wife is not taking this process diligently. What to do? She's not accepting Krishna consciousness diligently. What to do? His father said that is good for you. Simply accept it. whatever situation Krishna keeps, that is the best for us. That is the best. We cannot, we cannot say, okay, this is correct for me or that is wrong for me. No, 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 no. Whatever Krishna gives, that is best. Just see, dear devotees, I always think about this, that whatever Acharya is, what Srila Prabhupada is giving is something profound actually. Whatever spiritual mastery, what they are giving is something profound. Why is, see, entire world, everyone is doing on the platform of Iron Mind. Entire world. You go and ask anyone, why are you working? It's for me. Why are you doing this? It's for me. Everyone. Even if even if you see animals, they're doing it for themselves. Everyone. Everyone. One person, why? If I go and ask one person, why are you following this religious principle? Then he will say, oh, I will get liberation. Or I will go there. Or I will go here. Or I will go to heavenly planets. Or I will go to Brahman, Brahman, impersonal liberation. Everything is light. You go, you serve. They all have those aspirations. Your devotee, 1 second. Just give me 1 second. Hare Krishna. So they all have those aspirations. Closely see this world, how this world is designed. Everyone is running behind that. But on the other side, what our acharyas are giving, so profound, dear devotees. If you actually see, they are not running behind anything. They are only trying to please the Lord. There is no conception of I and mine here. Everything which they do in their life is to please the Lord. Everything. So beautiful this is. Just see, just think about this. Srila Prabhupada is mentioning about religiosity, right? I was just thinking about this, so beautiful that this entire world is doing so many things. And through the so many things, the so-called happiness which they are getting, they're thinking that that is the real happiness. For example, if a father goes to the office and then is working, and then at the end of the month he gets a salary, and he uses that salary, to take care of his family, right? And then through that, he's getting some happiness, right? Definitely. Why he will not get happiness? He will get some happiness. On the other side, another person who goes to the temple and donates some money, some Lakshmi, stating that that Lakshmi is used for some annadan, for some prasad distribution or some other service. So he feels satisfied just by doing that, right? From his side, he's thinking that that is devotion. From the first person side, he's thinking that that is devotion. What is the devotion? Take care of his family. A lot of people will tell that is my dharma, to take care of my family. That's what they say. right? So every person is trying to do in his own way. But on the other side, our acharyas, what they are doing is they are not doing what they want. They are doing what their acharyas are doing, what their acharyas want. Wow, how different it is this. What kind of consciousness is this? On one side, every person in this world trying to act in his best possible situations or circumstances, stating that if I do this, I'll get happiness. If I do that, I'll get happiness. And Krishna is pleased with that also. Not that Krishna is envious with that person who's not worshipping him. No, Krishna is supreme master. Or the acharyas, they are the supreme master, or they are the well-being for all the living entities. We discussed about that, right? Srila Prabhupada, 40, 50 years, he preached Krishna consciousness, but nobody was accepting. But still, he was happy. He was not envious towards that person. Prabhupada never said that, oh, people of India, they don't take Krishna. He's, oh, they're not taking Krishna consciousness, so I'm envious towards them. No, no. Prabhupada was not like that. What was heart of Srila Prabhupada? They're missing this. They're missing this science of Krishna consciousness. For that, he was sad. He was very compassionate. Just see the consciousness difference. It's a beautiful consciousness. What Krishna consciousness gives us is amazing. Because on one side, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning about religiosity. And what is the real religiosity? He's also mentioning about that. It should be free from material gain and sense gratification. And that should come onto the platform of Jivasya Tattva Jignasa. Ata Ata Brahma Jigyasa. Jivasya Tattva Jignasa. Who am I? What is the purpose of this life? Why am I here? Oh, who is spiritual master? What should I do? I should surrender to him. Then what should I do? These are the inquiries. Yesterday, one person was asking this question. This is an elderly Mataji who is asking this question. What that question is, okay, we are practicing Krishna consciousness, we are chanting Hare Krishna. There's no question of surrender now. But will that surrender happen just like that? Or do we have to just chant and wait until that surrender comes? I said, surrender will not come like that. Just by chanting, without aspiring for the platform, or without even coming to the platform of Namabhas, one cannot establish surrender principles in one's life. Because one should put some efforts. For example, if a person goes to a college, he's not putting his efforts, but he's not studying also. Will he pass the exam? He's not putting efforts. He's not studying diligently. He's not aspiring to practice, or he only has theory knowledge, no practical knowledge, no lab knowledge. Will he pass the exam? He will not pass the exam. As simple as that, right? Likewise, if a sadhaka is not aspiring, is not actually desiring. See, knowing one thing and aspiring is another thing. Aspiring comes from the desire. We might know that Srila Prabhupada is great. We might know our spiritual masters are great. We might know our superiors are great. But we might know all of these things are great. But dear devotees, we might know Krishna consciousness is also great. But responding towards that, when one begins responding towards that, that is when his progress begins. I said, Amma, that's all correct. You just wait. But if you actually see, even in the life of Ajaman, which we discussed 3 days back, If you see any devotee, not just Ajamil, any person, that person today or tomorrow will come to the platform of surrender for sure. I always wonder, I always think about this. If surrender platform has to establish, then if I have to surrender today or tomorrow, then why not today? That means until that surrender platform is established, if Krishna consciousness doesn't begin, or if the sadhaka doesn't come to the platform of pure devotion service, then it is better to do that today. So that is that is what we were discussing. Because it is so important that if we do not establish the right principles, actually, give me 1 second. 1 second. I have to take care of my daughter. 1 second. Hare Krishna. So that establishment, if anyhow that has to happen in one's life, then why not in this life? This is what I always think. I'm so sorry. 1 second. Hare Krishna. Sorry about that. So, if that process has to establish, if that is very important, then why not that process to be established in this very lifetime rather than taking another life? Because when we see our acharyas, dear devotees, that is what we always aspire for that. We aspire for their consciousness. That is actually is the real dharma. Dharmasya hi api vargasya. Prabhupada is very clearly mentioning what is true religion. What is true religion? To be satisfied with bare necessities. We are not aspiring to become millionaires or billionaires in this world. We are not aspiring for that. We are satisfied with Krishna. We are satisfied with what Krishna gives us. That is the essence, actually. Because until Until the sadhaka comes to that platform, their devotees, his prayasa in this world will continue. It becomes prayasa actually, over endeavoring. That prayasa will not take sadhaka, or that prayasa will keep him in karmakandic activities. We should always check our consciousness that we are not hitting these gates. Karmakandic, jnana or dhyana, because these are all these are all they are the other gates for devotion. They look devotion, but they are not devotion. I repeat again. The karmakandic, jnana or dhyana, trying to know more, over endeavoring, trying to understand more. Those are all karma, those are also the kind of keep the soul in a perplexed state. Prabhupada has given us everything. If we simply accept that, we'll get greatest. He will give us everything. If you remember, devotees, couple of days back, we were discussing about very important aspect of how a sadhaka should aspire to come from namaprada state to namabhas. He should constantly, diligently try to avoid 10 offenses. He should constantly try to please the spiritual master, try to please Krishna. And slowly, his consciousness will be uplifted and then kept in namabha state. And through that namabha state only, he will get a desire to surrender. And after that surrender only, he will begin doing pure devotion. And that pure devotion gives him love of God. So we should all aspire for that. If Jivasya Tattva Jigyasa is not established in the heart, then how come the sadhaka comes to the platform of love of God? Krishna Prem. Krishna has given us such a beautiful association. If you are not taking this association diligently, then will Krishna be pleased? I remember my spiritual master telling when I first came to his association, he told me, Krishna gave you this association. If you take this association diligently, Krishna will be pleased. If you do not take this association diligently, then Krishna will not be pleased. As simple as that. Because it is who is giving, because who sends, who gives association? It is only Krishna. Because this Krishna, he is waiting millions of lifetimes, dear devotees. He is waiting when my devotee will come. A lot of people will tell my husband is not listening, my wife is not listening, they are not listening, she is not listening. But how many lives we did not listen towards Krishna? We are not listening to Krishna all these lifetimes. What are we doing? Doing sense gratification means we are not listening to Krishna. If our energy is kept on the materialistic activities or materialistic desires, that means we are not with Krishna. Because that is not pleasing Krishna. Prabhupada is clearly mentioning what is a real, what is true religion is to be satisfied with bare necessities. We should be happy in whatever Krishna gives us. We should not endeavor, oh, let me get new sari, let me get new dress, this, that, let me buy this, let me buy that, let me go to this store, let me go to that store, let me see there is a deal here, let me see there is that there. These are all prayasa. They will not help us, they will kill the soul. The soul is killed. Because what are we doing? We are aspiring to be happy in this world. कुछ भी नहीं है यार इधर. There is nothing here. At least if a sadhaka comes to this point, that there is nothing here. It's all illusion. Then that's a great progress for him. He should be convinced with that. That means Any sense gratificatory situations and circumstances comes, he should remember this. And he should see how Srila Prabhupada did in this situation. He should see how our spiritual master did in this situation. We should not accept any of those things. This only comes through love. This only comes through devotion. Love means devotion means what, dear devotees? We chant Hare Krishna every day in the morning. Hare, we are actually taking the association of Radha and Krishna. Hare means Radharani and the internal potency of the Lord. And what is the internal potency of the Lord? All our acharyas are there in the internal potency of the Lord. That means through that Hare, we are taking the association of Srimati Radharani, we are taking the association of all the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Guru Parampara. We are taking association of Lord Spiritual Master through that Hare. What is Krishna? Krishna. Sarva Akarashiti iti Krishna. Govinda. He gives satisfaction to the senses. He is the real master. This is true religion. We should always check, am I following in the principle in the footsteps of Karma Kandi? Or am I following in the footsteps of Dhyana? Or am I following in the footsteps of Jnana? Should always see. There are side doors. Diligently, carefully, we should strive to come out with that. Ajamala realized that through the association of Yamadutas and Vishnudutas, because Yamadutas and Vishnudutas were they're discussing about the true dharma. Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here. What is true dharma? The Yamadutas were telling true dharma is what? True dharma is to kill Ajamila and then take him to Yamalok. That is true dharma for him, because they want to please their master. Who is their master? Yamaraj. Yamaraj is their master. And what is their consciousness with Yamaraj? Whatever you say, I will do. Go to attitude. And on the other side, Vishnudutas are giving various reasons, explaining why he should not be taken. Then they were explaining about the glories of the holy name, because he chanted the names of the Lord without any offense. Because he's not thinking of, oh, if I chant this, then I'll get a Tesla car. Or if I chant this, I'll get a bungalow. Or if I chant this, my son will study well. Or if I chant this, my health will improve. Or if I chant this, this will come. Or if I chant that, this will come. None of these things were done when Ajamila chanted Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. That's it. Because he was calling his son. But he was not thinking any of these things. He was doing zero calculations. Now, if the sadhaka is not coming into that platform when the body is live, when the body is alive, when the consciousness is live, when everything is working great, if we do not come to this consciousness, then what is the guarantee that we will come to that consciousness at the time of death? What kind of guarantee? We have no guarantee for that. So the aspirations is what we need to look. The goals and aspirations. This should be our goal. Surrender might be little far, but this can be done. Constantly trying to avoid offenses and then chant the holy names. This is doable for us. Surrender might not be doable today. But when we come to this Namabhas state and then when we chant Hare Krishna, then Krishna will inculcate that desire. By the prayers of the spiritual master, Krishna will inculcate the desire. Because somebody has to desire for that. See, if the disciple is not aspiring for that consciousness, the spiritual master will pray for that desire. Please give him right consciousness. My dear Lord, please. So that he comes to that platform and then he does pure devotion service. The moment he sees something, he will never take it for his enjoyment. He will always see how this can be used in the service of the Lord. Yuktahara Vyaharas. Pratyahara. So, yuk, Yukta Vairagya. What is Yukta Vairagya? This is this. Everything has to be used in the service of the Lord. Just see, dear devotees. And on one side, entire world is going away from this. And then by the mercy of Acharya, what are we trying? What are we trying to do? We are trying to come into this consciousness. See, there is a river stream which is going from left to right. But the sadhaka, what is he doing? He's swimming from right to left. It's difficult. It's difficult, but when we stay together, it can be done. It's not impossible. It can be done. Only sense gratification will pull us away. Because this material world is always there to pull us away. It will not allow us to stay in right association. It will pull us away. Why like this? Why we should control the senses? Why we should do this? Why we should do that? Why we shouldn't do sense gratification? Why we shouldn't sleep more? Why we shouldn't eat more? This is difficult. It is something we should do. That, for example, if a person is drowning in the water, will he just drown like that? That's okay. It's okay. What can be done? I'll simply drown. Will he be in that consciousness? What you know? Please help, help, help. He's shouting to his life so that some person will come and protect him. We should come to that platform. This is our shouting. We want to show the Lord that we are shouting. My dear Lord, I'm shouting here. Please. थोड़ा दया करो ना. My dear Acharya Srila Prabhupada, I'm shouting. Please help na. थोड़ा help करो ना. Please help. I'm shouting here, please. I know my shouting is not that heavy. Please help. What are all these things? All these things are the shoutings. We want to express our heart. Just like a child would express a heart to its parent, to his parents, that, my dear mother, I want to do this for your happiness. He's expressing himself. This is our expression to the Lord. For example, if Krishna comes into our dream and asks, what are you doing in Krishna consciousness? Then what will we tell? Just imagine you get a dream. That in the dream, Krishna is asking you this question. Okay, you've been practicing Krishna consciousness. What have you gained in Krishna consciousness? And what did you did in Krishna consciousness? If these two questions were asked, then what would be our answer? My dear Lord, I did not do anything. I only did sense gratification. Will Krishna be happy? No. Krishna will ask, Are, I gave you human form of life, and then you used this to this purpose. He'll be sad. We don't want to make him sad. We don't want to make our acharyas sad. We want to make them happy by following what? True religion. It looks little uncomfortable. Yes. 1 second. So that's how a sadhaka comes to that platform, and then a deep relationship with all of them will be established. Really, we are all very fortunate actually to come in the association of exalted movement. Dear devotees, there is nothing higher than this in this world. To be completely Krishna conscious. When a sadhaka comes to the platform of complete Krishna consciousness, when he follows it thoroughly, he get a lot of realizations, reflections. He will be so happy in his heart because he is seeing the presence of the Lord at every moment. At every moment, he is seeing the presence of the Lord. Very, very important. Dear devotees, our absorption should be in that way. You have some free time. Think about what we discussed. Think of how we should make further advancement in Krishna consciousness. Think of how to come to the platform of Namabhas. Constantly trying to avoid what mind is teaching us. Mind will always pull us away. Mind will always tell, do that, do this, do this, do that. This is important, that is important. It will show so many things. But we should always do what is congenial to Krishna consciousness. Because the more we try to work on our consciousness, dear devotees, the more we'll get satisfaction to our heart. The more we will be pleased with this process. The Shravana will be transformed into Shravana Shakti. We get asakti towards the process of hearing. When we get asakti to the process of hearing, then what happens? Kirtana will come, Smarana will come. Then we begin accepting the truth in toto, and then move forward, and then make progress in spirituality. Then in the devotee's life, he will not have two lives. He will not have material life, or he will not have spiritual life separately. Everything will be one. He will have one life, that is spiritual life. He'll work for Krishna. He'll do for Krishna. He has kids, he has family members, he'll do it as a service to please Krishna. He does everything to please Krishna. He does everything to please the acharyas. That is what his motive is. Because that is what is the consciousness in the spiritual world. They also have, in the spiritual world also, they have kids. Not only here, they have kids. They are very happy with all of them. Hare Krishna. I would like to stop here. If anyone has any questions, based on that we can further discuss.
Hare Krishna Puji, Dhan Pranam, all Krishna
Hare
Bhagavatam.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, very nice class.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, in Mahabharata, it is said that Ahimsa Param Dharma, but Dharma Himsa Tapi Vajra. So if someone attacks devotees, destroy our temples, definitely we should kill them, fight back. Otherwise it will be adharma. So how is your comment on this, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Actually, we should fight for that. Because if you actually see, Arjuna was being kept in a difficult situation by Krishna. What did Arjuna do? Did he fought, or did he went back? Because dharma was breaking, right? He fought, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Same, we should also do that. But it should be under guidance, definitely, for sure. We cannot do anything whimsically. It should be under guidance. So through that guidance, we should do, definitely. Yes, we should fight for that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
See, it is very important. See, I'll tell this. One time, a non-violinist, the person who practices ahimsa, non-violence, practices non-violence, and then he's actually the head of everything. And then this reporter was asking, she would come and then ask him a question. Okay, your daughter is in a difficult situation. People are trying to kidnap your daughter in front of you, and you have to fight. You have to fight. If you do not fight, they will kidnap your daughter. This is your situation. What you'll do? Will you fight or will you don't fight? Then it's a tricky question for him. Then he said, I will not fight because he's following non-violence. He's following non-violence. That's what, right? Mahatma Gandhi was also following non-violence. That's why he doesn't like Gita. He reads Gita, but he doesn't like what Krishna did. This is the problem actually. When a person who doesn't follow or hear from the disciplic succession, it is bewildered actually. So he said non-violence, non-violence, that actually destructed India. On the other side, this person who was the president of the non-violence movement, he said, I will not fight. Whatever happens as per karma, she will receive that. Even
Yes.
as a practicing devotee, even as a practicing devotee, if a person says that, oh, as per karma, whatever happens, it will happen. He can do something because he can do something at that instance. See, out of relation, you cannot always say we cannot always put karma in this,
Definitely.
right? See, if your son is there in a difficult situation, don't you go and help him? We will help him. That's our relationship, right? That Krishna has kept us in that situation. We should protect. Because Krishna has given us that buddhi, that intelligence. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. He has given us that intelligence. So we should go and protect them. We should go and save them. That is our duty actually. Don't you think that in the spiritual world they are protecting the other persons? They are actually. Or they are waiting for the mercy of the Lord. That is also protection. That is also depending. For example, we cannot do anything. What can we do? We can pray. We can depend. Just like gopis, they would come, just like Arishtasura would come, there's a huge team, Arishtasura. And then gopis are holding the tree and then they're calling Krishna Krishna because they cannot fight against Arishtasura. Then what are they doing? They're depending on the Lord. Just like Arjuna, he couldn't fight the battle. So what he was doing, he was depending on the Lord. Because he knows only Krishna can help him in that situation. So what is he doing? He is depending on the Lord. Then Krishna told him, so whatever you are thinking is incorrect. If a person is not depending on the Lord, there is no question of Krishna telling him. Likewise, if a person is not depending on the instructions of the spiritual master or not taking the association correctly, then there is no chance of receiving that knowledge. For example, if we did not come to this moment, then we would have completely engaged ourselves in sense gratification life after. We are already doing life after life. We will continue few more lifetimes until another pure devotee comes into our life. We will continue that life after life until that devotee will come and tell, oh, this is not correct. Stop this. Until that point of time, we will do it. So it is very important. See, karma is also there. That non-violent person is telling that as per karma, whatever she will get, she will get. But that is there. That is also correct. I'm not saying that is absolutely right. But what is his duty in that instance? His duty in that instance is to protect. If he is not protecting me, that is his problem. That is not the problem of his daughter. That is a person's problem because he is not doing his duty diligently. That is a process, right? What is a real religion? Real religion is to understand who we are, what is our position, know that clearly, and then do it according to their guidance. That is real religion. So people do homicide. India and Pakistan, so much. I don't know what's happening. One of the devotee was telling me, I don't even know what's happening in the news. One devotee was asking this question, Prabhu, I said, do you know? Then I said, I don't even know about that. Then she was telling, no, I saw this is what happened. I said, this is suicidal. They are thinking that this is religion. This is a problem actually. This is a disaster. From his side, this is correct. But what is the real essence? Acharya should has to come and tell us. Dear devotees, now you should understand how important Acharya's presence in our life is. Otherwise, we are doomed. We are gone. We have no clarity here. Now, who somebody has to come and tell, if you do this, you will be free from karma. He should be convinced. That's what Srila Prabhupada is giving us, that association. We are getting this association. We should take that diligently and then move forward. Hare Krishna.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, Biplov Prabhu, you are saying. Baldev Shiva Prabhu, please. Sorry, correct.
No, it's okay. Thank you,
Hare
Hare Krishna. No problem.
Krishna. Anyone else would like to add anything?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji and Pranam all Krishna. Very
Hare
nice
Krishna,
points,
Subal
Prabhuji. Very nice points about how serious we need to be there and importance of Guru Sadhu Shastra in our life. Because I was also actually, when Baldev Prabhu was asking this question, how they are misguided, right, Prabhuji? Because they are thinking that killing who doesn't believe in the same God, he's actually leading them to heaven. That's what they were taught. And
Correct.
yeah, so that misguidedness is so even Prabhuji yesterday, of course I was at a satsang, yeah, of course not ISKCON one, but my neighbor arranged, so I did, because I had to help him with the setup, so I was there for some time, and they were telling that you know yeah, of course there were some Christians and others also were there. So he was mentioning that killing animals at that time, because the Europeans did not had any food in the winter, and that's how they started killing and eating, and they continued. And we should not object them like that. He was saying. So I did not feel right, and but I tried to intervene, but it did not occur me. So at that time I thought how having a person, a guru in our life is so important. So at that time, how should we respond, or what should we mention, Prabhuji?
So, a person who is speaking, if he's speaking in those lines, for sure he will also eat meat because he has to put himself in a better position so that he's convinced in what he's doing. So they uses this ways and means to cultivate. Then we should understand, we should always understand that if the Acharyagan is missing in one's life, if Guru Sadhu Shastra, if the presence of Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara is missing in one's life, then we should really understand that it's all everyone is misguided actually. That's what we discussed in today's class also. If we closely observe, every person in this world is misguided. But the person who is misguided he would never think that he's misguided. That is also another problem. He's already in illusion, but the person is convinced that he's not in illusion. So to that person, to convince him that what you're speaking is incorrect means, first we need to see, we should develop some relationship with them. But the problem is nobody's ready to develop that relationship. Because if he's our friend or if he's very close, if we are connected to him, then we can go and tell him or give him that signs of devotional service. But the problem is, Prabhu, it's not, it's actually very difficult, especially to convince the other person. I remember Srila Prabhupada telling, I had to, invest gallons of blood to make one person a devotee. Srila Prabhupada was mentioned. He writes in one of the letters to a disciple. So it is not easy to come to make him convinced in the process. It is not easy. So the best way is to develop make him good friend or something like that. Cultivate some relationship with him. Then we can tell. Otherwise, whatever, see, if you go and ask a Christian, they would tell, yeah, meat eating is good. Why? Because they eat meat. Actually, Prabhupada actually mentions so many times, thou shall not kill. That is one of their commandments. That is the first commandment. I don't know whether it is first or second, but one of the commandments, thou shall not kill. It is pretty straightforward that animal killing is bad. But they all do that. And then they would change. They changed it to thou shall not murder. That means I'm not killing. Murder in the sense murder is done for whom? For homicides, for living entities, for human beings. Kill means for animals, murder means for human beings. So they changed it. Why? Because okay, if I put murder, then I'm not murdering, but I can kill the animals or I can eat those animals. So this is what is happening. They would change or they would tweak. So the person who's also speaking, he's also in this particular category. That's why if you see Christianity is so rampant now. Why? Because there's no rules, there's no regulations, there's no rules. I know in Hyderabad, there is one church which has at least 1 lakh people will come every Sunday to that church. 1 lakh people. They're all converted people. So this conversion is going on very rapidly in India because people think that this is the best. So you don't have to do anything. You don't have to follow anything. You simply have to do eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Complete sense gratification. It's a problem actually. So this is the age of Kali Yuga. When I was a kid, I have never seen in a public place a girl and boy hugging. I have never seen with my eyes. When I was a child, when I was living in Hyderabad, I lived all my life in Hyderabad until 22. I have never seen in a public place girl and boy hugging. But after 18 years in US, when I went to collect my visa in high-tech city, I used MMTS train. For that, when I saw in that MMTS train, a lot of people they are hugging. It's a public place. It's a train, and then they are hugging. So the culture is changing, bro. Just within 20 years, culture change. I will give another example. 50 years back, nobody was buying water bottles. Because they used to get water at the tap. That was good to drink. They were just drinking. They had no reason to buy water. But now, everyone is purchasing water. Just imagine after a few hundred years, a day will come that we will purchase air also. So, by seeing this, Subal Prabhu, you brought up a very good point. You should understand the society is going for dogs. Society is transforming to hellish planet. This place is transforming into hellish planet. So in the future, how it will happen is the person is doing sinful activity before even going to the hellish planets, he will suffer here only, which we see now. So many hospitals. 100 years back, these many hospitals were not there because people were not diseased so much. Because people had good habits, good hygiene. They used to wake up early, they used to sleep early. Those are all good hygienic conditions. They used to cook at home. Everyone used to cook at home. I know when I was a child, when I was going to my village, everyone used to cook at their home. Now, even at those places, Swiggy and all this Zomato, all these places came. This is leading to hellish planets. But dear devotees, the only solution in for all of this is to become Krishna conscious now, finish your business, get out from this place. If a person who is little enthusiastic or little inquisitive, bring them to Krishna conscious. That's what we can do. That's what we can do. If I come and see, if that's the another important aspect. We should never tell these regulations beforehand that you have to follow these regulations. You should bring them to the process slowly, connect, ask them to hear, come to the platform of Kirtana, ask them to chant every day, ask them to hear every day, ask them to come to the association, ask them to hear every day. Then slowly, what happens? They will also be connected. And then we can do beautiful services actually. Because once the consciousness is purified, then dear devotees, if we are convinced with this process, we will do a lot of preaching efforts. We should be convinced. We should follow this diligently to our core, to the core of the heart, more sincerely than ever before in our life. Thinking that today is my last day. My dear Lord, today is my last day. Let me chant diligently. Today in the morning, I was thinking while chanting, Arey, yes, I should diligently chant, diligently hear, diligently meditate on the glories of the Lord. Because this is what they have given us. They say that this is the essence of everything. Let me develop that consciousness. Let me try to please my acharyas. This is what we need to aspire for. Prabhu, this science of Krishna consciousness is very, very highest standard. That's why you see very few people taking this. One time, one of the sannyasi spiritual master, he was asked, he is very, very closely connected. Even until now, he sent me this message that in Hyderabad, this is what about the church. Then I gave Maharaj, this is what I feel about this. They do not have the presence of the acharyas in one's life. That's why they are deviating so much. Because you can do anything you want. There's no relationships, there's no this, there's no that. There's no give and take. There's no surrender. There's nothing, any of this. You do anything. You do anything, Jesus will protect you. This is what they say. You do all sense gratification. I'm there for you. So for them to come to the platform of Krishna consciousness, first thing they should establish relationship with them. Otherwise it is impossible. Because hearing one thing, following one thing, aspiring one thing, there's so many different levels in Krishna consciousness also. Even after surrender also, there are different levels, different gradations of advancement in Krishna consciousness. A devotee becomes so convinced that through that relationship, he will not see anything else other than Guru and Krishna in his life. That is also one level. That comes after surrender. He will not see anything else. Everything he sees in this world is the presence of Guru and Krishna. So there are very beautiful process actually this is. Now we need to understand this society is going for dogs. For sure. So we should transform our consciousness before we leave this body, finish the business, and then aspire. We should ask, Prabhupada always mention, nobody aspires for going back home, back to Godhead. We should aspire for that. We should aspire for going home back to Godhead. Nobody is doing that in this world. It's very important. So that is how we should see. It's so. I always think if a person practices Krishna consciousness, he completes 60%, and then he again takes birth after 200 years, for example. then what will be his situation? Will he get that right association again after 200 years? Let's say he's born in America. What would be the fate of America after 200 years? What would be the fate of India after 200 years? Just now only so much westernization. What's going to happen after 200 years? It is very difficult to see people wearing saris. So where are we heading to? Just imagine if we are born in this world again after 200 years, what will be our situation? So through that thought process, it always comes, "Arey, why don't we finish in this lifetime?" That we need to inspire more and more. Am I making sense, Prabhu? Subal Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you so much.
Because this is very, very important. Actually, if you see people's life, his lifespan is also decreased now. Earlier, everyone used to live 90 years. Baldeswar Prabhu is a doctor, so he knows lifespan is decreasing. Yes, Prabhu? You agree?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Lifespan is decreasing. So that's what Bhagavatam says. The lifespan will continue to decrease more and more. At the end of the lifetime, people will live only 25 years. End of Kali Yuga. Because no strength to live more than that. And there will be no milk, no grains. Homicide will be a natural thing. Now homicide, oh, they're doing homicide, oh. At that time it will be no homicide, that's a natural thing. That's what Bhagavatam says. If somebody tells 50 years ago, oh, you will be purchasing water, they will be in shock. Arey, water, why, when, why we will purchase? We are getting water here very freely. Why will I purchase water? They will be surprised. You will purchase water. Now everybody is purchasing water bottles. Now it might be surprising that you have to purchase air, but after a certain period of time, it will be a normal thing. So these are all, if things are changing. Things are changing so soon. We should become more and more serious in the process. Take this diligently close to the heart and move forward. That is the only way for us. Hare Krishna. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, dear
Hare
devotees.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for all his valuable contributions and reminding us every day how we can improve our spiritual life. We're forever grateful to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanyavad Pranam Guru Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the wonderful thing. So after this Kashmiri incident, I was just thinking about the same thing, like how cruelly they can do this based on the religion, but you explained very nicely, Prabhu, the true religion, how we need to follow, what is our dharma. So thank you very much for that, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Ramnath Pranam all to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for
Hare
the
Krishna.
message.
Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna.
just to follow up to what Shival Prabhu was asking. So in that situation, my mood should be, my consciousness should be in such a way that I'm put in this situation. Well, I chose to go and help because they were asking for help, or some other situation. They asked me to join the puja that they are doing at their home. So I'm put in that situation. Now, my response should be just being calm. Don't go into that. I tried to explain, but it did not work out. So just be calm, right, Prabhu? And don't, as you said earlier in the class, and we were discussing in Bhagavad Gita class also, don't give association. Sorry, give association, but don't take association on for those who are already in a mood of argument or trying to explain their opinion, which is not as per Guru, Sadhu, and Shastras. Right, Prabhu,
That's
is that how I should respond
yeah,
to save me?
if we have some relationship with them, then we can speak to them in a pleasing manner, and then tell them that, okay, this is what you are telling, but these are not my words. These are the words of our acharyas. These are the words of the Lord. This is what I feel. This is better and congenial. And then if they are more responsive, then we can tell, if we have relations, then we can tell. If we do not have that relations, we can tell, have some other engagement or something like that. So just try to remain in that mood, and then give them that conviction that you're always there, like that you are not cutting them off, or you are not putting them down, and something like that. So that way, go ahead. You're saying something.
No, Prabhuji, I was just saying, wanted to
So
say.
that way we are. For example, I'll give another situation. For example, you go to your friends. You eat only Krishna Prasad. And then what your friend is insisting, can you please take some? I removed onion garlic also. Can you take this? Because your friend knows what you eat. But he's insisting, please, you came after 5, 6 years, please eat something. So that's their natural way of telling them. You should tell, in a way, so that we are not, putting them down also. You can ask them some fruits, and then take them home, offer it to the Lord, and then honor it. Ask them to give some fruits which are not cut, so that you can do that stuff, and then offer it to the Lord, and then go from there. And then tell him, if there is a chance that I do not eat because it is not prasad, or I'm eating only prasad these days. Or yeah, you can say, if you do not have that relationship, you can say, I'm on some vrata for a few months or something like that. That's why I'm not consuming now, something like that. So Krishna will give beautiful reasons if we have that strong desire to follow it. Because I remember we are a joint family. So not many people would practice Krishna consciousness in our joint family. We have homes next to each other. They used to ask, can you come and eat? I would say, they know that I don't eat. So they would tell, you eat, then but we say, that's I do not follow that, I do not eat because so and so reason. Then I ask them to give some fruits, something like that. So that way we are not breaking them, and we are not cutting them off, because there's a chance that they might also take up to the process of Krishna consciousness in the future. So that way, and not only that, Krishna told in Gita, Advesha Sarvabhutanam Maitra Karaniya. Be non-envious towards every living entity. Every living entity. So that's also one of the core primary reasons why we do not put the others down, and move from there. So good thing is develop good relationship with them. If that is not possible, then just do what you're doing, then go from there. See, to really preach Krishna consciousness, that is another art which we have to receive from our acharyas, from our spiritual master. Because preaching is done at different levels. For example, I can tell somebody, okay, you chant Hare Krishna, and this is the mala I'm giving. You practice this every day. You chant at least one round every day. And then we do not have any relationship with him. And then that's it. There ends the matter. Right? People will think that as preaching. But if we closely observe, actually we don't know how he's practicing, when he's practicing, what he's doing, what he's not doing. There's so many details. So none of those things are established, or none of those things are seen. So the other level of preaching is what? Develop relationship with them. And then first we really come to the platform of surrender. And then the person has to tell us, now we have come to this state, now you can go and preach. Then the preaching will be effective. Because they're devotees. Introducing is one thing. To give a step, just like Brahmaji, he created. Creation is easy. But maintenance, who is doing maintenance? Vishnu, Lord Vishnu personally is doing maintenance. Maintenance is difficult. For example, you purchase a home, that is easy. But to pay loans every month or maintain the home, it's difficult. Closing on a home is easy. And also selling off the home is also easy. But to stay in that place for 10 years and then ensuring that everything is right, paying the loans correctly, that is not that easy. Because that will take time, it will take investment. Maintenance is difficult. So likewise, introducing one person to a process is easy. But to maintain that person, to give him that services, to give him that shelter, to give him that wisdom, to give him that surrender attitude, to give him everything, that is difficult. To destroy devotee is also easy. That is ignorance. Who is doing? Lord Shiva is doing. But to keep them in the process, to keep them continuously, and then give them that aspiration that pure devotion is the essence, that is difficult. So likewise, that is a whole reason why we are discussing every day. Because, dear devotees, there's so many situations, circumstances do change a lot every day on a day-to-day basis. That's the reason, one of the reasons why Srila Prabhupada Nashta Prayashabhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Seva. Every day when we hear this truth, what happens, dear devotees, we will get that conviction, our faith in the process will increase. For sure. For sure, the faith in the process. You do this continuously for a few years, for sure the faith on the process. If we stop in between them, nobody can save or protect us. Nobody can save. So, continuously, just imagine millions of lifetimes we've been through these things. So, to come out of these things, it will take some time. Just like you switch off the fan, immediately the fan will not stop. It will take some time to stop. 1 minute, 2 minutes. That 1 minute, 2 minutes is just life. And if we use this, if we give this life to please our acharyas, we are the most fortunate persons in this world. No matter what problem comes, you will stick to the process. You will not give it up. I know during difficult times, a lot of practicing devotees, they leave the process. I've seen so many practicing devotees, they leave the process. Why? They have difficulties in their life. Or if even though if they stay in the process, the faith is not conviction. There is no strong conviction. That means they don't follow it diligently. Why people do not follow diligently? Because the faith is not there. The conviction is not there in the process. Because that kind of association is not there. So always strive to stay in the association. Always be accountable. Be vigilant. Carefully observe everything that's happening in this world. Dear devotees, this lifetime, we should strive to finish everything in this lifetime. Have that desire. This lifetime, I should do this. Just like we have this goals, right? Targets at our office, finish this by this month. Likewise, we should have targets for our life. I'll finish this in this life. We should have that. These are the things which we need to cultivate. Think about these things, all of these things. Cultivation, goals, aspirations, introspection, dependency, free from arrogance, humility, compassion. These are the things which is pleasing Srila Prabhupada. These are the things which is pleasing Krishna. This we should strive. Dear devotees, our Acharya, they're so beautiful that they give everything to us. They give the consciousness which is there in the spiritual world also. Staying here. Oh, how fortunate are we? Very fortunate. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Anyone else? Shishulpa Mataji, is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, very much okay. As always, thank you. Thank you for the message. Yes, Prabhuji, this message early in the morning, through Shravana, as you always mention, is like rejuvenating, reminding the duties, the real dharma. Thank you so very much for your time coming and giving us the message, giving the Acharya's message. Thank you so very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
So, like to add, Basmati Mataji, yes, please.
Hare Krishna. Dhanyavad Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving us every day the nectar. Prabhuji, I had a questions, but in the last discussion you already mentioned about our practice, Prabhuji, and you mentioned in the talk that we are all doing for themselves, chanting for themselves to get good job, etc. So we are always looking for, I mean, not we, I'm saying myself, like always maybe looking for a fruit, like what is the fruit we'll get from the service. So that's why, Prabhuji, it's very important to cleanse ourselves every day by hearing. That's you mentioned, because the material life, Prabhuji, after like right now, I'm feeling I'm so happy because maybe I'm in mood of goodness because I'm with the association of devotees. And then after the whole day, like doing something for Krishna, yes, true, but there are material distractions too, honestly speaking, about the family, surroundings, etc. So it's hard to keep the same track all the time. Thinking about Krishna is hard, at least for me, Prabhuji. But as you said, like continuous hearing, continuous chanting, and that will cleanse our heart and increase the faith, which can make me steady to continue in bhakti, Prabhuji. That's otherwise the advancement will not come. So it's very true, Prabhuji. So thank you so much for giving us every day the nectar. It's kind the morning, it's kind of a medicine for me for the whole day to lead the life with Krishna's service, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Every day is a new day for me, Prabhuji. because I would like to advance in Krishna consciousness in this life, Prabhuji. So please pray for me, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All right. Thank you all very much. If it's caused any inconvenience, please excuse me. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Nila Govind Prabhu ki jai.
Jai. All devotees ki jai.
वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सन्निभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो. Thank you, devotees.